Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
You know, we're a couple days late, but we're here.
A couple. A few. Several.
We're here.
Yes.
We're still on the generational curses segment. We're going to be talking about not considering children's feelings as a major generational curse, I would say myself. So, of course, we're going to go ahead and jump right into prayer. Father God, in the name of Jesus, I just want to come to you and say thank you, Lord God. I just want to let you know that we're just grateful for the breath that you have given us on today, Lord God. We're just grateful for the purpose you have allowed us to be in alignment with, Lord God. I just thank you, Lord God, for everything that you have already done for us and everything that you're about to do, Lord God. I'm thankful for this movement, Lord God. I'm thankful for this podcast, Lord God. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
So, I definitely do understand that sometimes, you parents can get a little frustrated when you're under stress. But I do want to take the time out to let you guys know, or just give you a little insight that I think you should just be mindful of your responses to your children during those times. Because I know a lot of times, like, I hear parents screaming, like, leave me alone, give me a second. And it's not always what you're saying to your child, but how you're saying it to your child. And just being dismissive of them, is definitely a cycle that needs to be broken instead of taking the time out and, just acknowledging whatever it is that they're trying to get across to you, or just taking out a moment to say, okay, let me step back about from my stressful day or whatever stressful events that are occurring in those moments, and say, okay, let me focus on what it is that my child needs in this moment. um you discussing your child can be definitely a transference of how you were raised. So, because maybe your parents told you that, you think, okay, it's okay. Like, I feel like everybody these days be like, well, my parents did it and I'm fine. And, you have a lot of stuff suppressed. And, everybody's kind of like, so not as self-aware as they may think they are sometimes. So it's like you can like just take that time out to say, okay, realize when you're stressed, and then realize if your kids come to you that to not be dismissive in those moments, because understand that that is a curse and that can
transfer.
Definitely. And then, kids hold on to everything. So it could be like negative to them that, a negative thought that they would tend to carry by you behaving in that manner, like you responding so aggressively to them. Like that's stuff that they can take into their adult lives, and it's gonna just continue.
That's how the generational curses keep going. Because a lot of times as a parent, I don't think that parents really realize the way that they respond to their child or children is a result from what they've experienced. And they just responding in the moment, but when you become aware of how generational curses work, then that's when you start to realize, like, hold up, wait, I need to pull back. I need to rethink, recap, and go for it again. Exactly, in a different way. And that's exactly how generational curses continue.
Exactly.
It really is.
No,
that's a good example.
I feel they won't. They also won't know how to manage their emotions if their feelings aren't being considered at the time. At home, especially because everything starts at home. So if they're feeling like, well, if my parents are being dismissive to me, I know I can't go talk to nobody else about certain situations because I may be dismissed there, because they don't care as much as your parents. And this is like the mindset of a child. Like, it's like that's how I was looking at things. Like my parent, at home, this is where I'm supposed to get the most care and response and just good positive energy and talks about stuff that I felt was important. But, at the time, if my mom was frustrated about something, she didn't want to talk about nothing else because she was so stressed out about whatever was happening at work, whatever bill she was stressing about that needed to be paid, whatever. It's a lot of things that can cause you to be stressed. Like we say, you can avoid stress altogether. So you even might want to just think about that so that you're not just so snappy when it comes. And it may not even be towards your children. It could be towards your spouse, towards others. But, that towards your child is definitely creating a curse that needs to be broken.
I want to piggyback on that. The thing is, like, even as a parent, if you dismiss your child's feelings or dismiss what the child is saying to you, a lot of times they'll find somebody else to go to and talk to who don't mean them any good, and that's their way of baiting them by listening to what they're saying. So when they realize and are able to identify the things that the child may be lacking, they will in turn infiltrate that by giving the child the things that they think the child wants. And that's their way of luring them in to get them to do what they want them to do. Like
even if they're like in a relationship, because I know I was talking to a friend and she was saying, her mom was just so dismissive and really didn't communicate with her a lot of the times, that when she got into relationships with, guys, that she thought that was okay. That we don't want
because she got used to it.
Yeah,
so it was like a behavior, right? A behavior that became
normal. Yeah, and it's not normal to have your feelings dismissed, or if you're feeling like something is important to you, then you're thinking like, dang, this is not important to nobody else, so let me just forget about it. Like, so when y'all tell y'all kids, oh, ain't nothing wrong with you, it's not a big deal, you shouldn't feel that way, don't be a crybaby, don't be sensitive, just forget about it and move on. It's not important. And my favorite, if you don't stop crying, I'm gonna give you something to cry about. Cause boy, have I heard that. Right?
Why you gonna hit me again?
Right? Like what? Like seriously, those sayings right there are belittling their feelings, and invalidating their emotions, making them feel bad about having those feelings. I know there were several times I felt bad about feeling the way I was feeling when that shouldn't have been the case. Like, I feel like, we could have talked about it, talked through it to help me better with my emotions so that I can be able to better manage my emotions. Because I know, like I've, mentioned before, in a lot of situations in the past, I would just shut down because I always felt like, well, not always, but a lot of times I felt like, my feelings and my emotions were dismissed as a child. So it's just like, well, when that happened to me as a child, I was shut down. And so going into my teenage years and my young adult years, I still had that same trait of shutting down instead of being able to talk things through with people and, figuring out a solution. I would just suppress the situation because it's like, okay, I don't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I didn't, because that's how I was raised. And I feel like that's a curse. Like, well, not feel like, it is a curse because I'm like, maybe, my parents had this same treatment from their parents, and their parents had the same treatment from their parents, and nobody ever stopped to think, okay, this isn't okay. Like, let me consider how you're feeling. Let's talk about it instead of saying little things like, oh, it don't matter, don't worry about it, it's not a big deal. Just because it's not a big deal to you, you want to just be mindful of how your children is feeling and hear them out. So,
right. And like, another thing that I think, that's the reason why a lot of, especially Black males, are so reluctant to really express themselves, to really talk about how they feel because of the upbringing, being told to shut up or stop crying or you're too sensitive and all those kinds of things. But in reality, what parents have to realize, like, it's vital that parents realize that each child is different, you know, and a lot of times that child can be an empath. And if you don't know what that is, you can look it up. But an empath is pretty much a person who can feel other people's feelings, you know. So if you have a child that's like that and they're always talking about somebody else that's going through something and they're being emotional about the situation themselves, even though it may not have anything to do with them, just understand that that's just part of your child. Like, and even in that, you have to kind of like navigate them.
Yeah, don't make them feel bad about
Don't make them feel bad about it, and don't shut them down when it comes to it. Try to understand it. And I think that's a lot that we don't do in our community. We don't seek understanding, and we have to, because that's the only way we're going to truly be able to break these curses. You know, understanding A, where they come from, B, what it looks like, C, how to get around it, you know, like. Yeah.
Seriously.
I feel like I got a little passionate about that.
Yes, no, seriously, because especially when it comes to boys, I feel like, boys aren't supposed to cry, you know, suck it up,
right.
Boy,
so
get over it, like literally, and that's
and those boys become grown men
who don't know how to express themselves,
exactly, and they don't want to cry in front of nobody else, don't want to show that other side of themselves.
Even when they're hurting, they feel like
I'm a man. I can't show no feelings.
Yeah, and I feel like that's unfair.
It's very, very unfair.
That's really unfair. Like,
totally unfair.
I mean, I'm kind of glad I'm not a boy, but just thinking about the boys and how they, for real, because it's like, dang, when like thinking about how men maneuver these days, and like even like just sometimes not having a father figure around, and then, you know, being raised by a mom, and then you're just always being told, oh, man up, or this and that. Well, they don't have a figure, so they don't know how to really man up.
That example for them, so that they, in that manner, they don't know how to be a man, because a man never taught them how to be a man. But then at the same time,
and then you have some men who can't, still not teaching them. They teaching them the wrong things because of what they were taught. And it's like,
but then you have on the other hand, you have some good role models, and some boys who being raised by their fathers to be great men, but still don't know how to express themselves, because even still, it may not have been daddy that told them to shut up. It could have been mama. Boys don't cry. Shut up. You a boy. You just don't. And for some reason, women do have a bad habit of doing that.
Like, I see it so much. Like, even on social media, y'all might forget y'all on live or something. Y'all in the background telling the kids, be quiet.
Shut up.
Go sit down. Like, you're dismissing your child for social media, like stuff that's not even important. It's just like, realize, become more aware of how important your children are. Like, they are the future. You need to be feeding into them as much as possible. So even if they have a question, pause that live, pause that TV show, pause that conversation. What is it? How can I help you? Like, you know, stop being so snappy. Don't you see I'm on the phone? Like, yeah, I see you on the phone, but this is important what I'm coming to tell you. Like, so I, you know, like, let's just, you know, wake up and become aware that these are curses that need to be broken, and that they're not helping us as a whole. They're not helping us become positive. They're not helping us to learn how to deal with our emotions. They're not, you know, helping us to become the men and the woman that we need to be. Like I said, I like was shut down, and, you know, to isolate myself from people, or just, you know, ghost them altogether, because I didn't know how to express the things that I was feeling. And I would just go over the situation again and again in my head, and then I would be like,
I just wrote that down.
Like, seriously, like, so you know, you're going to have your kids just overplaying these things because you're belittling their emotions and their feelings and their comments and the things that they think are important. And you're feeling like, think that deep. Don't worry about it. Like,
but that's the thing. That's the thing that's very scary though, that a lot of people don't realize, because when a child goes into that place in their mind and they're trying to decipher different scenarios because mama or daddy wouldn't listen to what they had to say, and they're trying to figure out on their own, and they end up being stuck in their head. So you have a lot of time grown men that end up being stuck in their head as a little boy, grown women being stuck in their head as a little girl. So they still they're learning, but they're still operating like that child in the childlike way by not being expressive of how they feel, without just really being honest with themselves, you know, or even being able to communicate their feelings to someone else. You know what I'm saying? Like that's vital, you know, because that's an expression of you, you know, because a lot of times when you look at a person and you see how they are reacting to a situation, you are thinking that they're reacting because of one thing when they're really reacting because of something totally different. But then at the same time, you don't know because they're not able to communicate that to you. Exactly. And you're just going based off their actions, but you're going based off their actions is you assuming what it is that they could be thinking, what it is that they could have went through, when in reality, the only way you really know the reason and the purpose behind all of that is that they express it verbally.
Yeah, I feel like this curse also creates mommy and daddy issues because, you know, oh, my mama never cared for me, or I mean, my mom was always dismissive of me and my thoughts and my feelings. So then when it comes down to it, when they get a woman, they're not going to know how to appreciate or understand, like if she's caring too much or she wants to know things. It's like, well, why do y'all know? I had one friend like, I don't want to be cared about. Why do you care about me? And it's like it becomes a toxic trait. Because they don't even know how to be receptive to somebody wanting to hear what it is that they have to say.
And wanting to love them for them. Like, listen, I know who you are, baby. I love you for who you are. But they don't understand that.
Because no, mommy and daddy, they weren't able to do it. So how can I receive it from someone else? Outside of, you know, everything starts at home. So if I wasn't receiving that at home, I'm not going to know how to be receptive to it outside of the home.
Or even if mom and dad learned how to love them properly later in life, and let's say y'all just met, how could you love me like that so soon?
Exactly.
When it took my mama 20 years to love me.
Or she's still not loving me the way I need her to love me.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, we got to break these curses. Like, we really do, people. We have to.
It's really damaging, you know,
the next generation that's coming. Like,
no, seriously, it's like something you gotta take a deep breath on, because it's like, let's get with the program. Like, you know, people, and I always hear in our community, oh, white people always trying to talk things out and blase, blase, blase. They're getting answers. They're making solutions. They're getting through things. They're getting their children help when they think they understand that they need professional help outside of just mommy and daddy, and it's okay to get that help. So it's like, oh, they, you know, all white kids, they, you know, they might be crazy, but no, they're not suppressing those feelings. They're able to talk about them in a comfortable setting where, you know, they're not feeling like their opinions are dismissive or their feelings are being dismissive. They're able to actually express themselves better, and it helps you to grow as a person. And so when they grow up, they're able to recognize it in their children. You know, if they need to seek help, or you know, if they need to go back to therapy themselves, like, okay, listen, I think I'm having a little trigger here. You know, they're able to pinpoint the things that's bothering them,
you know,
and express it.
I'm sorry, but I'm having this thought in my mind right now. Like, we talking about white people, right? But they be the first ones that go and do crazy stuff.
They do. But I feel like those be the ones that don't.
Overprivileged ones.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases.
Yeah.
you know,
They
they
feel
just
like-
got it in the wrong direction. But the majority, when the help is needed, they do seek it. They
Yeah.
do. And we have to do the same. We have
Yeah.
to seek the help.
Because
We
if
have
we
to.
get into that place where we start doing crazy stuff, like y'all going shooting up parks and shooting at old people and shooting at women, like it's just stabbing women. Got like our community is doing. We doing a lot. Like I can't grasp some of the stuff that I see and hear about.
But you know, I stick to this. I think a lot of it too is because of what we've experienced as a world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when COVID took place,
a
lot of people didn't know how to deal with themselves.
Yeah.
Because just think about it. Being stuck in the house, you can't go nowhere.
Exactly.
There's a time restriction
gotta be
put out there. You got to be in the house by a certain time, or even having to wear a mask and all of these
just
things.
A lot.
Like it's like they already
even
was
school.
They
like,
already was
school.
They already were like told that they can't do certain things. Shut up, be quiet, go sit down, do this, da da da. They already couldn't express themselves, so now you got to wear a mask. Now there's a restriction on this. Now you can't do that. Now you can't go here. Now you got to stay here. You know, like
now school virtual. Like I'm already struggling in the class. Now I'm struggling on the computer.
Right.
So it's like I know a lot of kids that like dropped out. You know, the races, everything is kind of just going downhill. So I feel like it's time we just, get it together, get that proper help that's needed and become aware of what's happening. Like, don't be so naive and saying, my parents did this, and I turned out okay.
But that's the key. When you become aware, you start to take steps to become better, you know? So that's the key. Just become aware, like as a parent, be observant of your kids, how your kids are responding to you. Seriously. How you are responding to your children.
Seriously,
because you got a lot of disrespect for children around
here. And I just I don't know.
So what's the reason behind that child being disrespectful? I met this lady. I do not know her. She told me her name was Erica, I think. She just pulled up to me at the gas station. And when she pulled up, she was talking about my car. She's like, "Oh, you got a nice car. Take me for a ride." Da, da, da. Then when she got out the car, she just started telling me that she just got a car and that she's a single mother. Her son is 11 years old, and she decided to have him at the age of 33. Like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I decided to have a child, and he's my first and only child. And she was, explaining how she was strung out on drugs and things of that nature. She's been clean for 6 years, so forth, so on. So I did give her my number. I haven't heard from her, but anyway, I did give her my number, just to stay in contact so that she'll have somebody that she can talk to. But when she told me that her son gets on her nerves a lot of times and she just don't get no break, she don't have no help, no family that's there for her. And it's just a whole lot. It's just a burden. And sometimes I know I say things to him that I really don't mean. Like, I tell him, I wish you wasn't born.
Yeah, that's all I was about to say. A lot of disrespectful kids have so many suppressed feelings that they don't know how to, get it out in a positive way, that all they're receiving is negative energy. So that's all they're able to pour back out. So, let's be able to admit when we're wrong, parents, and apologize instead of saying, "Oh, you hungry? Oh, you want this? Oh, you want that?" Like, I know my mom did that.
Don't materialize as a way of saying I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Just say it literally. I'm sorry.
Seriously,
I shouldn't have said this.
I was wrong.
I was wrong for saying this. But what I meant was that, like. It's just like we was talking about, was it last week? We was talking about don't tell your kids not to do something and leave it with because I said so.
Yeah, seriously, that's
don't do that.
Thing. Yeah,
like you have to, you really, and you probably, as a parent, you probably feel like I ain't got to explain
myself. Like,
exactly, but in reality, you do, because you want your child to understand. So you have to explain it. Well, I know you cannot go out there and play with Mary and Sally because Mary and Sally, whatever Mary and Sally, whatever you see Mary and Sally do, if you want your child out there doing it too,
Exactly.
So, or no, you're not going out there because you're on punishment.
Mm-hmm.
You was acting up in school, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna be on punishment until next Friday, okay?
So basically, listening to them and talking things through, so they can better understand your view and you can better understand theirs.
Mm-hmm. And let them talk.
Way. Exactly.
Let them talk. My mama used to let me talk. She didn't. Every time I tried to explain myself as to why I did what I did, shut up. Well, now she didn't just say shut up. She said shut up and get the on my face right now. I don't want to hear it. And don't let me go in my room and close my door, baby. And she gonna come
kick it through
the door.
No, my daddy used to be like, you don't have to have a response for everything. Well, why? I thought we was having the conversation. How come you get to say your piece? I can't say mine, Dad.
Well, at least your daddy hit you in the mouth every time you said something. Yeah, or tell you shut the I couldn't say nothing. I just had to go in my room and just look at the floor.
I'm done. Let's just learn and practice teaching them to be more expressive and respectable ways. And, let them know that their voice matters because children matter.
That'll take them a long way too.
Yeah.
A very long way. Because when your child can express themselves and they're not afraid to do that, they won't get ran over.
Mm-hmm.
They will be able to take up for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They will be able to stand in front of people and really have a conversation and be,
open and honest about what they have going on,
or how they feel about a situation. We need people especially the younger generation, we need people to come forth and speak up and speak out about a lot of stuff. And
they don't even know where to start, though, because
if you tell them to shut up all the time.
Right, exactly. They ain't even gonna know where to start. Like, okay,
right.
I don't know what's going on with me at this point. So many different things. I can't even express it. So
I'm just not even gonna say that. You know what? I'm just gonna go over here.
Let them know, right? Let them know your voice matters. You matter. You are important. You are loved.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know. Like don't just assume. Oh, my kids know that I love them. Say it every day.
Please.
Let them know. Show you buying them things and paying the bills, and I'm sure they appreciate that. But just to take that little 2 seconds out the day to say I love you.
And it
goes a long way.
It's funny because I truly believe in that. I do. I did that a lot to my oldest child because in reality, as a child growing up myself, my mother didn't tell me I love you all the time. I really felt like I was a burden to my mom, to be honest with y'all. And I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm fine with it because I understand. So I made sure with my oldest daughter that I always told her I love her. Mm-hmm. I always told her how pretty she is and hug on her and kiss on her. And my child is 23 years old and she still do it to me.
Give me a kiss, Mom.
I love you. If I was saying that back, Mama, you didn't say nothing back. And she is 23, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, girl, I love you too. Okay, but I will say
one thing she gonna say when you gone. My mama love me. I know that for a fact.
And now, being the age I am, many years later, now my mom said all the time, I love you. Every time I turn around, she's saying I love you, and I'm like, it's not hard for me to say it because that's something I say. It's not hard for me to say it at all because it's something that I say anyway. But it surprised me when she first started. It just really surprised me to hear her say, I love you, And I'm like, oh, wow, she's changing, which is a beautiful thing. Definitely a beautiful thing. Okay. I don't know. You want me to play with it for a minute? Okay, you can go ahead.
Well, that was really my last point.
Did you press on?
It says
okay, well, we had another malfunction again today. But that's okay. We still here on YouTube and Facebook Live.
Yeah, that was kind of my last point though. Just teach them like they matter, their voice matter, their feelings matter. Let them know it's okay to express how they're feeling in those moments. Even if they come up to you and say, Mom, I don't like the way you said that. I don't like the way you said that to me. Don't be nasty or don't be just snappy and nasty with your kids. There's better ways that you can learn to communicate with your kids. Don't just because you feel like, oh, you're not on my level, you're the child, I'm the parent, you're the kid, I'm the adult. Don't have that type of mindset because that's not getting us anywhere.
You know something?
Anywhere.
I'm gonna go ahead and finish writing it because this is what I was going to say. This particular topic that we're speaking on, in reality, I do believe it's the greatest generational curse. Mm-hmm. And once this particular generational curse is broken, it will allow the children more comfortable with expressing themselves, telling what's going on with them, telling how they feel, telling what has happened, talking about anything, just anything. This right here, what we're talking about right now, is the greatest one of all, because it's the starting point. It starts with the children, the generation to come. It starts as children. So we really, really have to focus on breaking that and being able to communicate with our youth.
Seriously.
And allowing them to speak.
Seriously, because when it comes time for them to raise their children, they'll be better at it, and their kids will be better at expressing their things, and we can just get better and better as the time go on instead of just keep regressing and going down. And it's time. It's
regressing and suppressing. Like,
there you go.
We have to stop.
There you go. Yeah.
Progress is necessary.
Definitely.
And we have to do it.
Definitely. And once you're aware, even if you do it,
if you catch yourself, I ain't gonna lie, I do.
Yeah, if you catch yourself, just be like, you know what? I apologize for the way I say that. It's okay to admit that you're wrong. Like, it's nothing wrong with just saying, I'm
sorry. I could have said that differently. And what I mean by what I said is XYZEFG.
And if I made you feel that way, then how can I fix it? Or can we talk about it? Yeah, because because that's a thing. Like, parents feeling like, oh well, just I said sorry, but the kid might still be feeling away. So how, can we talk about it more? Like,
oh yeah, definitely talk about it more. But I'm like, how am I gonna fix that? I can't fix how you feel.
What you mean? No, you can't fix how I feel. Okay, but moving forward,
I can be more mindful of what I say.
Yeah, so boom, that's how you can fix it.
Okay, girl, I thought you was talking about something else.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, just tell them how you can fix it. Like, in the future, if I do this again, bring it to my attention, and I'll better work on it. It's ways that you can fix your problems. Maybe you need to go to therapy, or maybe you need to, just be mindful of your stress levels, what's stressing you out, not taking your anger out on the children. Like, it's ways for parents to fix the way that they talk to their children in those stressful moments.
That's what you mean.
Yeah.
I just try not to talk in my stressful moments.
Yeah, I do the same thing because
yeah.
I just yet, but
I do though. I have too, but like, especially if I'm upset about something and they kind of mean like, just give me a minute. I'll come to you when I'm ready to talk. I need a minute. So even if you have to do that,
take your minute. Yeah, take your minute. It's better just to say,
shut up, get out my face.
Right? Yeah, it's better to say that.
I say that to the grown, honestly. I do say that to the grown. I say to the grown when I do, but the one that's still 18, I know some people consider that to be grown. I don't do her like that because she's still, I mean, the oldest one is at an impressionable age too, but I'm just saying, I think she do it just to be aggravating. Honestly, I really think she do. I promise you, if you was to ask her, just y'all two talking, she'll tell you. I really think she do just to aggravate me. She just like to get a reaction from me, and then she'll laugh about it. until I really get in her crap. When I really get in her crap, she get in her feelings. So don't let your children manipulate you either, okay? Because that's what the other one tries to do. But yeah.
Anything else?
No, not really. Like you said, take a moment, if it's necessary, or if you feel like you cannot verbalize what needs to be said and your child is of age to be able to read, write it out. Send them a text message, because I know sometimes it may be difficult to get it out verbally, because one thing about saying something verbally is whatever come out a lot of times. Yeah. But when you write it, you have time to proofread, rearrange the words, things of that nature. So if you feel like being verbal with your children is not something that you're really good at.
Send them text. I'm dealing with something else right now. Can we talk about this later? Just to let them know your feelings matter. I'm still here to talk about it, but I can't do it in this moment because of what else you got going on.
And not to say that you have to express and tell them everything that you have going on. Yeah, you just like, I just got a lot going on right now, and I do want to have the discussion with you. I do want to have the discussion with you, but I just need a little time, and I will come to you when I'm ready to talk. Okay?
For sure.
And if you start that early, they'll be more receptive to hearing you say that to them, and they won't take offense like, oh, she just don't want to talk to me. My baby girl did it. She just don't want to talk to me. It's not that. It's just that I'm tired right now, and I don't want to say something to offend you.
Yeah.
If I'm tired, my train of thought ain't like this.
Yeah, we're human. This baby human, so I get it. But as being a child, you don't think like, oh, we're just human. Oh, she got other stuff going on. You're thinking you're being dismissed. So put yourself in your child's shoes.
And that's the thing that I told my ex-husband. Like, how you felt when your dad treated you the way that he did. Just because you feel like you're okay now in this moment, just remember how you felt as a child.
Exactly.
And when you think about how you felt as a child, you can only imagine how she could possibly be feeling. You know what I'm saying? And so I say that to you all, like, be mindful of that. If you was raised in a household where it was a lot of chaos, and just go back to that place of how you felt, and you got a lot of chaos in your house, and then chances are that's how your children are feeling too.
Exactly.
So change needs to take place, and it's okay. It's beautiful. Allow change to happen, because that's why we evolve. That's how we evolve. Experiences and change. Yes. So let's go ahead and break these curses, okay?
It's time.
Yes. All right. Well, that concludes this episode. And
subscribe, like, favorite, comment.
Ask a question.
Meet us here next week on Monday.
7:00.
Yeah.
We're gonna go with 7:00.
Yeah. I like that one. Mondays at 7.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. Always.
Share.
Yes. Okay, so
I didn't get all of it,
but it got most of it.
If you want to see the remainder of this particular episode, please follow us on YouTube. Or we can even share the link for that particular